Bibles in. Do we have a
Made in Pakistan
for the altar, Lee, that we could put on there like a?
Okay, the case was made in 1839 by Crouch and Fitzgerald, and it was purchased by St. John's Lodge for carrying the Bible.
And we have with us today the Bible upon which George Washington, Brother George Washington, a fellow Mason, took his oath of office in New York City on, what do you think? What do you think is better on?
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, sure, oh, it's okay. That's my yours.
Yeah, that's true.
set up anywhere on the peripheral.
Okay, I'd like to do an interview with you, and I need to do a couple of two different stations.
Well, we'll have time right after this.
Oh, okay.
You pick it up. I'll pick up. It's catching over here. I see. Pick it up. Hold on. Go ahead. I got it. It's catching. Oh, wow.
The last time they fumbled it was a disaster. They're in a good hands guy for me. There's two Bibles. I have drop state. I have drop all over the place.
If you look at the Bible, there's a number of pages here. For example, you have, just trying to do this carefully. You have the two Georges looking at each other.
I'll be darned, look at that.
This was added in.
Right. Okay.
The pages. It has a silk covering on it. It was done during the Victorian era, and it was done as a protection. And if you look at some of the pages, you'll notice some pages look like they're faded.
Right.
But it's not fading. It's the silk covering that's on it. And we'll continue over here.
What's the date of the Bible?
1767. It was printed in London, England by the Bassett brothers, who were printers to His Majesty, Royal Majesty, King George II, the good King George. King George III was the heavy.
That's right. Yeah, perfect. This is great.
I'm looking and listening.
You know, why don't we open it to page, to chapter 50, so we quickly will start.
The Bible has different maps also in it, if you take a look.
I do want to introduce you to
And it also has various engravings. You try to be careful with the maps.
April 30th, 1789. This magnificent Bible, you're probably all familiar with it. It's the King James version of the Bible. It was printed by the Bassett brothers, who were printers to His Royal Majesty George II of England. It was printed in 1767 and presented to the lodge by the incoming master in 1770. This Bible, the Bible's being held by Secretary Curtis, and we see here John Adams. If you don't know who John Adams, everybody knows John Adams, right? He used to go to, second president of the second president of the United States, and we have other dignitaries here, Knox, and the two ladies are standing here. They're not identified. But that's they're relatives or wives of the various members here. This is a first time that in this depiction of the great event that women were shown. The author or the artist said, well, wait a minute here. There were always women there, but in those days it was never reported because it wasn't significant. It wasn't felt to be significant. So he chose to put two women in this picture. Well, why did they use the St. John's Life? Well, wait a minute. They forgot the Bible. I mean, they knew exactly how many horses there were going to be in the parade. They knew how many bales of hay they'd need for the horses. They knew how many loaves of bread they were going to need for the troops that were there. They knew how many paces, how many steps it was from Federal Hall to St. Paul's Chapel, where they retired for prayer. How could they have everything? The details were incredible. How could they have forgotten the Bible? Well, the theory advanced on this is that at that time there were 22 churches in New York, and they were all different denominations. And of course, the Church of England was now kind of held in disrepute at this time. It was now called the Episcopal Church, and it was kind of in disrepute. And then there was a Roman Catholic Church, and there was a Methodist, and there were some Presbyterian, so many different religions. And they all were kind of leery of each other. But the Masons were held in high esteem by all, because obviously the Masons had members of all the different denominations in their lodge. So the Masonic Bible was held to be above. This Bible was used also for other presidents. We had President Carter used it, President Harding. Everybody remember President Harding? Okay. President Harding, President Carter, President Eisenhower, and President Bush, number 41, used it. The Andrew Johnson, old, I don't know how many, nobody here nobody saw the picture, no. He asked the Masons, he said, would I be able to see that Bible? So naturally they said yes. So he said, could you bring it to my hotel room? And they said, well, of course. So they brought it up to his hotel room, and he asked, I sometimes get a little emotional when I tell this, and he asked, could you open the Bible to the pages that George Washington had placed his hands? And they did. And he placed his hands on this Bible at the same place, and then broke into tears. He was so emotionally struck by this, so that the Masons didn't know what to do. They withdrew from the room and waited 20 minutes or so, and then came back in, and he had composed himself by that time. But it goes to show you the reverence in which this book has been held. In any case, this is the Bible that was used. It was opened to Genesis 49:50, as I say. Washington placed his hand, and he kissed at the conclusion of the oath, he said, so help me God, and kissed the Bible. That
thing's like semen. Bible.
Hi, how are you?